Greetings. Today I'm going to talk to you about one of my favorite things as far as movies go. Aside from Terminator and RoboCop movies, I'm actually really into werewolf movies, and I decided to do this list of top 10 because I saw another list of top 10 werewolf movies, and I think they missed out on the whole concept of the werewolf movies, and I think I'm going to try to go over and explain to you why I like these. One of the big things that I actually do like about werewolf movies is the whole concept of the transformation, because if you don't have a good transformation, your movie pretty much sucks. I mean, I've probably seen upwards of maybe, I want to say 50 werewolf movies, and most of them will usually either have a guy, like, he'll fall behind something, and then he'll walk out and he'll be like, "Rah!" or they'll do the epic light bulb smash, and then all of a sudden you see them emerge and they're a werewolf. But what I want to kind of spotlight some ones. Some of these aren't going to be in extreme order, but these are definitely 10 of my favorites. Definitely these first three that I'm going to talk about. They're definitely in order. So let's start with number one. Of course, this is reverse orientation because it's on my Mac, but American Werewolf London, probably the best werewolf movie ever. Had something to do with Rick Baker making a really awesome creature out of it, and it just really explored something that they started with the original werewolf movies, where it was just a victimization of this guy, being afflicted with this curse, and he's going to turn into this beast. And the fact that his friend, who also died, is like kind of saying, "You better do something because you're about to turn into a monster." I just like that, and the extra little touches they did on it with the nightmare scenes. That's really above and beyond any other werewolf movie ever made. So it only gets worse from here. Okay, my second pick is Stephen King's Silver Bullet. This is based off of his Cycle of the Werewolf book. Of course, I'm located in New England, and Stephen King, I think, is from Maine or some crap like that. I'm sure my Stephen King friends are probably going to be pissed for me not knowing that. But the things that I like about this is it's got Jesus Christ, it's got Gary Busey and Corey Haim. Gary Busey pre-insanity and Corey Haim when he was still alive. Just the things that I liked about this movie was when they picked those actors, and the fact that they put their main character in a wheelchair was pretty awesome. It really adds to it, and it's got that nice twist because you never expect that person to be the werewolf, and I think that's what really makes a good werewolf movie, is the person you least expect. But they do a lot of cool things, just like American Werewolf in London did, where they had a nightmare scene and everything. They had one really cool scene in the church where, like, everybody turns into werewolves, and while it's not like full on transformations, I think it's probably one of the coolest things. And I've only seen one other movie do it, and it's one I saw pop up recently on YouTube. Some Spanish werewolf movie. It looks really cool. I probably won't understand a word they say, but that transformation looked good enough to me. Alright. My number three favorite werewolf movie of all time. The Howling. Now, a lot can be said because there's probably about 8 of these movies, and this movie, I don't know if they ran out of money during it, but they had about, I don't know, maybe like 5 transformations. They went overboard. But there was one where I guess they just ran out of money and they just turned it into a cartoon turning. But it's pretty cool how they do this. They actually have like a colony where this guy tries to convince everybody that they can control their transformations and they're not all monsters, and well, it's pretty cool how it does. And what's interesting is this was actually based on a book first, and I think it's the 3rd or 4th movie they go back and they retell it as the original Nightmare. So this is actually a loose interpretation of the book, and the other one later on, I think it stars that guy. He was in The Pretender, and It's this crazy scene because this film series just gets out of control. It gets to a point where, let me see, I think the next movie tentatively title is called Sturba Werewolf Bitch. That's a good one. And then as it goes on, that one, I think it was like 3 or 4, the original Nightmare, when he finally goes through to his turn to turn, he melts into a puddle, and then he comes out emerging as the werewolf. It's probably one of the weirdest things. As far as that whole Howling series, I'd definitely say I think it's like 5 is good, but the last one, I didn't even see the New Moon one, and I heard it was awful. But there was another one, I think it was like Reborn or something like that. It was on Netflix. I saw it a couple months ago. Alright, the rest of these aren't in so much order, so we're just going to kind of fly through these. This one, I guess, technically isn't really a werewolf movie, but I think it's absolutely probably one of the best acted movies, obviously because Jack Nicholson and Michelle Pfeiffer and James Spader's in this. So basically the movie's called Wolf, and it doesn't necessarily feature the guy turning into the wolf, but it's just over time he becomes more and more like an animal. And they did some really creative things in the movie, and I think it's a cool movie. This next one was one that came out in I think it was 91 or 92. I don't know, the date on this says 2000, I know that's not true. But it's called Bad Moon. I originally saw this one on like Cinemax or Showtime or one of those. Got some damage on the case there. These are those old cases where you click them open like that. But I think it's Ted Parr, and Mariel Hemingway. Basically, there's one awesome scene where she catches him when he's about to chain himself up to a tree. And while the transformation's a little cheesy for the time period, it was someone actually putting effort into making a werewolf movie, so that kind of made that good. Alright. We're going to go with it. This one's a little cheesy. This is a double, but we're just basically talking about Teen Wolf 1. From what I understand, if you know anything about the Back to the Future lineage, apparently Teen Wolf was shot before Back to the Future, and the studio held back on releasing Teen Wolf because they didn't want to mix up, the career and everything. Apparently, if they had put this out first, it probably could have sunk his career. From what I understand, it was definitely on the plans to do the second Teen Wolf movie, and they just wrote Jason Bateman in and said, "Oh yeah, Scott's going to college." Oh, whoops, I don't even remember what they called him in this movie. But the second movie's okay. It's more like an after school special. But the first one, it's classic '80s movie. I mean, sure, it's got the cartoonish feel, but it's good. I'm gonna try to move on through here because we're getting a little crazy here on the time. All right, this one is a more recent one, and I know it's a remake, and people are probably gonna get pissed about it. But I really like this because Rick Baker was involved in making the transformations. So this Wolfman remake with Benicio del Toro, Anthony Hopkins, dude, and then oh my God, Hugo Weaving is in this, dude. I mean, you can't go wrong with this. Transformations are really solid. I think they put a good emphasis on the curse, and it's got a different twist than the original, so that's why I kind of treated it as its own movie, but it's good. Okay, moving on. Company of Wolves. This is an old one. 84 this one came out in. So basically, this was told through the guise of a fairy tale, and it probably features some of the most disgusting transformations. I mean, if you look at the cover right there, that right there, usually I'm not a fan of those kinds of transformations, but the way that the story was told here, it's more like a Little Red Riding Hood, but I didn't really get that vibe from watching this. But the way the story plays out, it's told in a way that I haven't seen anybody else kind of go through, kind of teach it in that manner. And there's just little ways that the director did to kind of, destroy the image of people. Like the one where it's like, I guess it's like a wedding or a dinner or something like that, and then they make all of them change. Oh, that's a sick scene. And the other one is when he's in with I guess the Little Red Riding Hood character, and he just kind of turns, and then she kind of like shoots him. Or shoots him or hits him. I don't know. It's been a while, but just that whole scene where like, his tongue's all over the place. It's fucking awesome. All right, this last one because I got one of those awesome box sets that Universal put out. I'm just going to talk about both those movies. It's off the Wolfman box set. This contains about 4 movies. So basically Universal wanted to put this stuff out because they were remaking Van Helsing, and the whole concept behind that was they wanted to kind of reintroduce the monsters and stuff. And I guess it was like, I don't remember what the friggin' anniversary was, but it was awesome that Universal acknowledged this. And last year I got the chance to go out to Universal Studios, and they had the classic movie Monsters Maze, and I'm usually not one to go on rides, especially like dark rides, because I'm a wuss like that. But when I saw that, I had to go on it, and I kind of stopped when I was at the part with the Wolfman and just kind of stared at him, and he's like, ah! And I'm just like, yeah. So anyway, the 2 movies that I really like to spotlight off of this are Werewolf of London, which is great. It's a lot older movie. It's shot in 1935, and it goes back there, man. I mean, it's to me, I like the whole process, the way that movie was shot, and even though you look back and say the transformation scenes for the time that movie came out, those were very advanced. Other than that, the original Wolfman movie, I don't think I have to explain anything in it because it's just one of the most classic Wolfman movies of all time. Lon Chaney Jr., when he does the thing where they sit down in the chair, even though by today's standards, not that good, I loved it. And that basically concludes it. Also on this, you have Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman, which is pretty good. And She-Wolf of London, not on this one. One of the later ones is better, but I don't know. That pretty much concludes my things. Most of these were based off of like transformation scenes, and if you can't have a good transformation scene, you don't have a good werewolf movie. That's bottom line. I hope you like this video. I've actually rambled on a lot longer than I thought I was going to. If anything, watch my guitar videos. Thanks for watching.